I used to believe learning how to code wasn't really worth the effort, until I noticed something most people completely ignore. There are lines of code running right now, quietly, automatically, making more money in a single minute than most people will ever earn in their entire lives. Think about it. While you were brushing your teeth this morning, somewhere in the world, an automated system executed a trade, flipped a few numbers, and generated millions in profit for a firm that never had to lift a finger. That's the real power of code. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because the truth is simple. If you understand how to code, you operate on a completely different level than people who don't. And if you combine that with AI, you don't just compete. You accelerate past everyone else. But here's the part no one wants to hear. Now, before you fall into the endless rabbit hole of overcomplicated tutorials and day in the life of a programmer videos, usually made by someone who just finished their first intro class and suddenly built an entire aesthetic around it, let's simplify this. You don't need the perfect setup. You don't need expensive gear. And you definitely don't need to prepare for months before starting. You just need to begin. It sounds obvious, but it's also the step most people never take. Every skilled developer you've ever heard of started from zero. No exceptions. So here's a smarter way to approach it. If you're someone who prefers to move at your own pace and spend little to no money, there are free resources that can guide you step by step. One of the best places to start is roadmap.sh. It lays out clear paths for different roles, whether that's front-end, back-end, full stack, cybersecurity, or even specialized areas like system design and APIs. You don't have to guess what to learn next. You just follow the map. On the other hand, if you learn better with structure, deadlines, and support, you might want something more guided. That could mean a traditional degree or a faster alternative like a coding boot camp. And here's the reality today. Companies care far less about where you learned and far more about what you can actually build. Skills and real-world experience matter more than a piece of paper, which brings us to something important. If you're looking for a more direct path into a high-paying, flexible tech career, without spending 4 years and taking on massive debt, there are programs designed specifically for that. One example is 1010. They focus on taking complete beginners and turning them into job-ready candidates in fields like software engineering, data science, and cybersecurity. What makes them stand out is a hands-on approach, real projects, mentorship, code reviews, and even career support, things most self-taught learners struggle to access on their own. Because learning to code isn't just about watching tutorials. It's about building, getting feedback, and improving fast. And that's where most people get stuck. But if you approach it the right way from the beginning, you won't just learn how to code. You'll actually become someone who can use it. Now, let's address something people love to exaggerate. The job market. It's not that opportunities don't exist. It's that a lot of people graduate expecting results without ever putting in real effort, studying a few minutes a week, and hoping for a high. Paying job isn't a strategy. It's wishful thinking. That's why outcomes matter more than promises. When you see programs where a large percentage of students actually land jobs within months, it tells you something is working. Platforms like 1010 focus heavily on that outcome, helping people not just learn, but actually get hired. The flexibility is another big factor too. You can learn online, on your own schedule, even if you're juggling other responsibilities. And when a program is confident enough to offer a refund guarantee if you don't land a job, that's a strong signal they're serious about results. But let's shift back to what really matters, how you should learn. Here's a mistake almost every beginner makes. They obsess over picking the perfect programming language. That's the wrong focus. Programming languages are just tools. Once you understand the fundamentals, switching between them becomes much easier than you think. Sure, they have differences. Some are stricter, some are more flexible, some are faster in specific situations. But none of that matters when you're just starting out. If you want the simplest path forward, just start with Python. It's beginner-friendly, widely used, and powerful enough to build real projects without overwhelming you. Now, when you look at learning roadmaps, especially on platforms like roadmap.sh, you'll notice something intimidating. They're long, very long, and that can make you feel like you need to learn everything before you're ready. You don't. In reality, no developer knows everything on those lists, not even close. Try to master every topic before building anything is like trying to study bread and cheese theory before making a grilled cheese sandwich. At some point, you just need to step into the kitchen and cook, because experience beats theory. Every time, what those roadmaps are actually good for is direction. They show you where to start and what exists, but they're not a checklist you need to complete. So here's a better approach. Start with the basics. Focus on the highlighted, beginner-friendly topics. Learn just enough to understand what you're doing, and then immediately try to build something small. It won't be perfect. It might even break. That's the point. You don't need more tutorials. You don't need another complete guide. You need reps, because the fastest way to improve isn't by consuming more information. It's by using what you already know. At this point, you've learned a few basics. Maybe you watched some videos, read a couple of articles, followed a course or two. Now comes a step that actually changes everything. Start building. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Now, take whatever small piece of knowledge you have and ask yourself a simple question. What can I create with this? It doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It just needs to be real. Let's say you're getting into web development and you're into something random, like pressure washing driveways. You could build a simple website where a user enters the size of their driveway, the surface type, and their location, and your site estimates the cost. Sounds easy, right? It's not. And that's exactly why you should do it. Because the moment you start building, reality kicks in. You'll run into problems you didn't expect. You'll search things every 5 minutes. You'll feel stuck, confused, and tempted to quit halfway through, especially when your screen is full of errors and your brain feels fried. That's the moment most people stop. But if you push through and actually finish that first project, something important happens. You escape what's known as tutorial hell, an endless loop of watching, learning, and never doing, and you move into something far more valuable, learning by building. That's where real developers are made. A great example of this is Neil Agarwal, the creator behind Neil.fun. If you look at his early work, it was simple, basic ideas, small projects, nothing crazy. But over time, those projects evolved into creative, polished experiences that millions of people use. That progression didn't come from watching tutorials. It came from building consistently, and you can follow the exact same path. Now, here's something that might mess with your head when you start. It will feel like everyone else knows way more than you. You'll hear terms like APIs, servers, databases, WebSockets, things that sound complicated and completely unfamiliar. And it might seem like other people just get it instantly. They don't. What you're seeing is a result of time, not talent. Most of those concepts aren't taught clearly in beginner tutorials. You won't master them overnight, and you probably won't fully understand them from a single course. You learn them the only way that actually works, by building projects, by searching things constantly, by reading other people's code, and by copying and pasting code until you slowly start understanding what it does. Over time, the confusion fades. Patterns start to make sense. Things that once felt impossible become routine. But none of that happens unless you stay in the game long enough. So don't wait until you feel confident. Confidence is a byproduct of doing, not a requirement to start. You're not going to become a great programmer by binge-watching 10-hour tutorials back-to-back. That might feel productive, but it's not progress. And here's another problem with the usual advice. Just build something you're passionate about. Sounds nice, but what if you're not passionate about anything? What if your goal is simple? Learn a skill, get a job, and make money. That's completely valid. So instead of waiting for passion to magically appear, use structure. The difference here is important. You're not being spoon-fed solution. You get guidelines, what to build, how to approach it, even how to publish it on GitHub. But you still have to figure things out yourself. That struggle is where real learning happens. It's very different from copying a tutorial line by line and calling it practice. And if nothing on there excites you, don't overthink it. Search something simple. Build something random. Start messy, because at this stage, momentum matters more than perfection. Technical interviews. And yes, this is where leak code comes in. If you've never seen it before, it's basically a collection of coding problems that make you question your life choices for a while. At first, you'll stare at the screen and understand absolutely nothing. That's normal. These problems are part of the process. Think of them like a filter. Not a perfect one, but it's what companies use. In a short interview, they can't fully measure your real-world ability. So instead, they check if you can solve these structured problems. It's like a silent agreement. If you can solve these, you probably know what you're doing. Is it the best system? Not really. Is it avoidable? Also not really. Don't try to rush through hundreds of problems in a week. Space it out. Focus on understanding patterns. Arrays, maps, trees, recursion. At the beginning, even solving one easy problem can feel like a win, because it is. Everyone you see solving advanced problems today once struggled with the basics. So if you zoom out, the path is actually pretty simple. Step 1, learn the basics. Step 2, build real projects. Step 3, practice problem solving for interviews. That's it. No secret shortcuts. No hidden formula. Just consistent effort in the right direction. And if all of this still feels overwhelming, remember this. Every developer you look up to started from zero, confused, stuck, searching for answers. The only difference is they didn't stop. So start now, keep going, and figure out as you move. And if this helped you even a little, you already know what to do next.